The legal fireworks regarding the 2023 presidential election has begun. As the tribunal started sitting this Monday, security was beefed up at the Court of Appeal in Abuja as the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal commenced pre-hearing of petitions challenging the victory of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the February 25th election. Justice Samani maintained that the panel will do justice to the case and warned against sensational reports. Julie, I think this is a time to be very, very careful. And this is not the time to speculate. This is not the time to go into the crux of the matter that we have the judiciary, we have the Court of Appeal, we have a panel that is sitting that in the next 180 days or before, they're expected to complete their assignments. And I think Nigeria should just give the Court of Appeal the benefit of doubt. So the tribunal, the benefit of doubt to actually do justice to whatever perceived injustice people are insinuating.
The presiding judge said today that he was confident that at the end of the trial and verdict, that everyone will be satisfied with the verdict. And I'm like, what is this judge saying? There's no act by which you can satisfy everyone in form of a judgment on a political matter. People who have made up their minds that they won the election when they did not come close to winning. Whatever the verdict may be, they are not going to agree that the verdict was the right one. And that's why former head of state Yakubu Gowon was pleading during the weekend that they should not damage the judiciary. The judiciary has stepped in a number of times when all hopes seemed lost. The judiciary has intervened competently on many occasions. Yes, we've had some judgments that didn't really edify the judiciary. We've had some very recent judgments that people found it hard to believe, like some people getting into the Senate without taking part in primaries and all that. The judiciary relying on technicalities. But we have to admit that even during the military era, the judiciary stood up to be counted. We can't, because of some judgments that, in our view, didn't make sense, rubbish the judiciary. Because if we do not have the judiciary in a democracy, the democracy itself is doomed. Because politicians will always misbehave, and we will count on the judiciary to set them aright. So it's unfortunate the extent to which the arguments have gone in respect of this, especially the presidential election of February 25. But as Gowon said, we have to conduct ourselves in a manner that helps us to preserve the glory of the Supreme Court. Today, the matter may go against you, but tomorrow you will need the judiciary in a particular matter. So this set of politicians who are heating up the polity needlessly, they have to do a rethink and put Nigeria first. I know that most of the time they put themselves first. Some of them, you can't describe how big their ego is. Some of them, their ego is just as big as the African elephant, which is the biggest land mammal. So, but they've got to put Nigeria first. And that is also what the judge was warning about, inflammatory statements and sensational reportage of what's going on in the course of the court proceedings. But today, you saw that Action Alliance withdrew its matter because based on the schedule, it was supposed to be the first case that will be looked at, but they withdrew their matter before the pre-hearing session began. So they still have the Allied People's Movement.
Four political parties.
Yes, we still have Obi, INEC versus Tinubu, Shetima, and APC. Allied People's Movement versus INEC, APC, Tinubu, Shetima, and Kabiru Masari. Atiku, PDP versus INEC, Tinubu, and APC as respondents will be the matter that will be treated last. So what it means is that the matter of Kabiru Masari being a surrogate candidate, you know, that matter, the matter that
was raised by the Obi camp.
Yeah, that some of the, they are not the only one, even the Allied People's Movement have also decided to go to court on that. So that means the court has to make a conclusive decision on that, whether it was right for him to occupy that position or candidate or vice presidential candidate temporarily as it has happened.
Sorry, GKB, when you look at the expectations, a lot of Nigerians, more than before, I've never seen any tribunal or any court case that Nigerians are waiting for, expecting the verdicts since 1999, like this particular, maybe because of the way it was keenly contested, the February 25th presidential election. So hopes to be dashed, hopes to be rekindled. Some people are going to be happy, some people will not be happy. But at the end of the day, this is not the final court. Yeah, it's going to go to the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court will still have another 60 days to adjudicate on this and dispense of it.
I think that's the nexus that a lot of our people don't seem to be aware of. That this particular tribunal is the tribunal of the first order. That means it's not the final say.
For the presidential.
For the presidential. For the gubernatorial, even everything. Gubernatorial too will go to the Supreme Court. I think only as of
no, for the presidential, it starts at the Court of Appeal. And from the Court of Appeal, the tribunal goes to Supreme Court.
3 layers for the gubernatorial.
Yes, gubernatorial 3 layers.
But everybody ends up at the Supreme Court. Thanks to the Rotimi Amici versus PDP case of years gone by. And then the one for Aregbesola, when the National Assembly decided their wisdom.
Okay, GKB, just hold your thoughts. Let's take this breather. When we come back, we'll discuss more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this breather. All right, if you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from TVC News here in Lagos, Nigeria. And I have Ganika Balogun and Babajide Kolade Otitoju in the studio. We are looking at the legal fireworks, talking about the Court of Appeal, talking about the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court tomorrow is expected to adjudicate
on the Oyetola matter.
On the Oyetola versus Adeleke matter. Tomorrow is the
it's a very busy week for the
is the final day, and they're going to say something. Looking at the calculations now, we've left that era of 48 months, 38 months that it could go on and on. We have matters that they are statute bound matters. 180 days. Yeah. If it's not dispensed upon in 118 days, it's just going to be dead on arrival.
Yes.
That's good for our judiciary at least.
Yes.
There's a time frame.
Obasanjo, Buhari versus Obasanjo with Ahamba as Buhari's lawyer in 2003. The matter began in 2003. It ended in 2006.
3 years.
Yes, I remember covering that judgment. I was in the Supreme Court. Afebaola was Obasanjo's lawyer. I remember that case. In fact, when he was commending the judges, they said, no. The presiding judge said, don't commend us. Don't need to commend us. Remember that matter. 3 years they were in court.
3 years. By that
Yes.
time,
3 years they were in court.
Yeah.
Now,
They could go back
the
and
law
forth,
has
go
been
back.
amended.
Yes.
And the law has been amended in a manner that takes into cognizance the avalanche of evidence that you will need to convince the court that you won the election. A country with more than 170,000 polling units, your evidence can come from anywhere.
Yeah.
You need time to front-load evidence, to photocopy those, the pieces of evidence that you have.
And
So now, you see, now it's 180 days for the
everything to
yes, and that one is backed by law. It's 180 days. Then the Supreme Court, the final court, also needs 60 days. Again, that is what the law says. Those who want this matter decided within 14 days, even in the US, O.J. Simpson's matter was not decided in 14 days. We see matters that go on for years. So when our lawyers are speaking as biased people, it is very easy to know. Some of them have practiced abroad. They know that it's not all cases that you can rush. It takes time. Look at even the Senator, the former Deputy Senate President, whose matter, Ekweremadu, did it last for 14 days? Was it just 14 days? They've been on it since last year.
October.
They've been on it since last year. And I want to believe that even the evidence that they needed, they had. From the first week, they had the evidence that they needed. But they still needed to take their time. The evidence was there. The boy that was taken there had already, it was in their custody. They took their phones. They saw communication between between the doctor, Obina, and Ekweremadu. Yet, they still took their time. But people want them to simply rush this whole thing and come to a conclusion that is fast, because they imagine that this matter could be decided by technicalities. Oh, you did not win Abuja. I was reading one of the spokespersons of one of the parties saying, oh, Tinubu didn't win Abuja, so he did not win the election. They imagine that the people in Abuja
Are more special.
they have 4 heads. They go around with 4 heads. They go around with other things that the rest of us have. God blessed us with one. They have in Pierce and the rest of them. Absolute nonsense. To imagine that one part of our country, very small part of our country, go and look at the map of Abuja. It's just similar to the map of Lagos in terms of how small it is.
You will say, special status.
Which special? Who granted it special
That's why it
status?
was mentioned, and FCT.
Oh, then they
what
let
they
them go to there's a section in the Constitution that says Abuja shall be treated as a state. 299 of the Constitution.
No, I think they know
conveniently. No, for some of them were ignorant. They didn't know that portion of the Constitution, that section exists. But even after telling them, they are the kind of people that they do not even believe in a healthy argument. Whatever it is that you say. And a lot of them are on reading. Just like some of their promoters on TV that you see argue. Somebody was saying, oh, INEC on TV, journalists, to tell you that even training of journalists has collapsed in our country. A journalist came on TV saying, oh, INEC is biased. Why do you think he said INEC is biased? Because INEC defended itself that, look, this election, this is the winner. You You sue people. You sue people. You join them in a suit, and you don't expect them to defend themselves. It's not Tinubu that they are defending. I mean, the people,
It's the exercise.
they are deciding, they are defending the exercise that they conducted.
So that you don't rubbish their own name.
Yes.
They have a legal department.
They have, why did you join them if you didn't want them to defend themselves? When you join a party, that party has to come up with its defense. It is their defense that they've come up with. And you now turn that to mean that they are biased. How do people reason, Ayo? I'm just amazed. Now, look at when APC sued INEC and Adeleke the other day, and APC believed I won the election in Osun. What did INEC do? INEC defended itself.
Yes, that no. You did
On
not
the
win.
side of APC or PDP.
PDP.
INEC said no.
No.
The same thing happened even with the election of Hope Uzodinma. INEC defended itself at the Supreme Court that no. In the election that we conducted, this Hope Uzodinma did not win. And then you come and tell Nigerians that they are biased because they defended the exercise. So is that bias? Why did you join them if you did not want them, if you would not want to see them defend themselves? How can I conduct an election? I was given billions of naira to conduct an election. And I cannot defend it that I did the job to the best of my ability. In doing that, you now want people to believe that they are biased. Every time, tomorrow, if Binani goes to court against Fintiri, if she goes to court against Fintiri in Adamawa State, she has to, Binani by convention has to join INEC in the suit. And if she joins INEC in the suit, INEC will go and defend all that it did that culminated in Governor Fintiri's victory. Will you now say that INEC is biased? So if you don't want them to come and defend the exercise, don't join them in the suit. And if you don't join them in the suit, you have lost the matter, even from the beginning. So these are some of the things. INEC, like in this case, now INEC will go there and defend its work. So journalists should not go on TV and be misleading the Nigerian people. Peddling ignorance. Ignorance peddling is on a very high plane in our country by journalists wearing cheap suits on TV and making it look like they know it all. Whatever you don't know, ask people. Ask journalists. Ask lawyers. As a person, there are judges that even some legal matters that I don't even ask lawyers. I ask judges. I have friends among judges that I ask. That's why I'm able to argue some cases in a manner that suggests that I have training. I'm not. I'm an unlearned person.
No, you are mislearned.
So at the end of the day, when the optimism surrounding this hope that at the end of the day, the inauguration will go on.
Yeah.
And anybody that thinks that you are going to go to any court in this land to go and get an injunction against that inauguration, please wake him up from sleep. No judge in the Federal Republic of Nigeria will give you an injunction to stop that inauguration. So, for those of you that they are very sure that an individual will not be inaugurated, just go and bury that idea.
No, the very idea that you think that those who are asking for 14 days or those who are optimistic are relying on the law is not true. They are looking for validation. And there's nothing more dangerous than dogma. Because it has turned to a religion. Because when you ask them to show you facts, how they won, they start calling you names. And in fact, that's why I'm very happy when I wrote this morning, that I was looking forward to this day, because I was waiting to see the facts that they're promising us for almost 4 months.
Yep.
That I've been asking for. Because the Deputy Governor of Lagos said that the things that were being, I'm now trying to show something else, that the polling booths that were contention were less than 2% of whatever the state has garnered. So
that's about 87 polling booths.
So you understand? So we are talking about 170 or 169 something. 30,000. And the entire thing that they are banking on is basically less than 10,000 polling units throughout Nigeria. And people keep wondering, will that make a marginal difference? But they say we should just watch out, that they are bringing something else to do. But Yorubas have a saying, it's the last song that a deaf man hears that will sing till death. And these people are not, these elections, it's not going to change them. They've made up their mind that X won. No matter what the judges say, it's not going to change their mind. It's not going to change their position. And if they grow old to be 100, they'll be telling their children and grandchildren that whatever judgment comes out of the Supreme Court about this case was flawed.
But the beauty of it is that
generalizing this.
No, the beauty of it is that everybody seems to have put their hope in one basket now, the judiciary. Nobody is saying no court. Now everybody is saying let's wait for the judiciary. Now we are going to wait for the judiciary. We've submitted our hopes and everything to the judiciary, and we expect that they'll do justice.
Yes, this is not the first matter. Even an election in 2007, that the winner said, this election that brought me to office is flawed. Because those were the days when they simply were writing figures.
The ballot papers when it's realized, no number.
No, you see, they will bring ballot materials meant for Osun State. You will see them in Ogun. Those things were happening.
Honestly.
How did Oyinlola win his matter against, Aregbesola win his matter against Oyinlola?
Forensic audit.
There was a lot of ballot box stuffing. Ballot materials that had been pre-term printed, meant for another state, ended up here in Osun, and they just term printed them and put in this and counted. So now technology has come in to make our elections better. Where a person says, February 25 is the election, is the worst in our history, that person is either someone without a sense of history, very poor in history, and I wouldn't blame people because in this same country they stop the learning of history.
Yeah.
Or downright mischievous, because we've seen where elections didn't take place at all, figures were simply written. We've seen in this country,
brass,
a party had already even won an election only and congratulated by a former minister, only for that result to be changed because they felt it embarrassed a deputy, vice president. They changed it. And the party that won eventually lost. In this country, no one is doing that now. We are relying on beavers, and that's why people... I was speaking with an House of Reps member today who said, Jide, if you know the way PC fought me in Plateau, but I still managed to win. I said, you managed to win because the era of people sitting down, simply writing figures was over. And that's why today, APC members in the House of Reps, their number is lower than the opposition.
For the first time.
For the first time. Because that election permitted people who normally would have lost to win because the human influence was limited.
Minimized, yeah.
Beavers was allowed to work. So you go to election now believing that you will win.
But to a lot of people, the IREF that wasn't uploaded, the materials that weren't uploaded to the IREF, that again marred everything. That announce what is in all the Form E38. All the Form E38As were tampered with.
The primary source, the primary document is the one that all the agents signed.
Yeah.
That is the most important of all, and that is the one that is in the Constitution. In the Constitution, I'm not talking about electoral, in the Constitution. And when you have conflict between this thing, you have between an act and the Constitution stands supreme. Yeah. If you remember, the matter of card reader was not in the Constitution.
It was thrown out.
It was thrown out at that time. So the IREF that they did not upload to IREF cannot dismiss the fidelity of the exercise because the primary source is still that from E38A. All the agents will sign. So as long as those ones, that is what they will present in court, not what is uploaded.
All right.